Right then, it is that time of year where the Premier League's starting tomorrow as I record this. It is time where we make ourselves look like a right tit on the internet by trying to predict how the Premier League table will look come May of 2026. And let's get straight into this video, starting with in 20th place, Burnley. Well, I think it's because they haven't really bought any standout players, and they haven't. And if you look at last season, they played a very defensive style of football, which works when you're by far the best team in the league and you can just sit back and go and let teams come at you. But they didn't score that many goals. You need to score goals when you're one of the worst sides in the league, which they didn't do loads of last season. So I think realistically they have got absolutely no chance of survival. And if they do somehow stay up this season, I will eat my own shoe and record it and upload it to this channel. Anyway, 19th, I've gone for Leeds United. They don't really have a number 9. No, Dominic Calvert-Lewin does not count. It's not 2020. And Daniel Farke definitely doesn't convince me as a manager. I mean, he's got Norwich relegated. He only had one full season in the Premier League, and he got them relegated about 15 points. I think of the 10 games in his second attempt at the Premier League, and he won one of them. So, yeah, not really the greatest Premier League manager of all time. So, yeah. Anyway, 18th, I've gone for Brentford. A bit surprising one for some, but my reason is they basically sold all the best players, and Wemmer, Wiss is going to go out the door. They've lost Thomas Frank, and then they've chosen to replace him with their set-piece coach, Mark Andrews. He's never had any managing experience at all, apart from telling him out to take a corner. So that genuinely looks like that is going to end catastrophically this season with Brentford. And their 5-year stay in the Premier League will come to an end. Anyway, 17th I've gone for Wolves. They've lost their main man who scored them quite a few of the goals, Cunha. And I had a look at their midfield on their app. It looks absolutely horrific. I genuinely can tell you one of those players that I can remember. So God knows how that midfield's going to do. They've got Larson, which I quite like up front. Brian Early signed him one time, so that's the claim to fame of this video. Well, I think you can get him a few goals and bail him out of trouble, which means they won't go down. But you know, I'm not convinced about Wolves this season. In 16th, as much as I hate to say it as a Borough fan, Sunderland, I think they bought really well this summer. They've got Xhaka in. They've got quite a few players from other top flight leagues as well. Now, I thought Ipswich was going to sit last season, but the problem looking back at it was they bought championship players. They bought good championship players, but they weren't necessarily ready for Premier League football. The fact that they've bought in like the Xhakas and I think they bought a few for France in, which they have top flight experience. They never had that at it. The players at Ipswich never had that. So, despite the fact that they are going to lose that half their score during AFCON, I think they will just about stay up in 16th place. So the first time since Forest and Bournemouth and Fulham back in 2023, a newly promoted Premier League club will survive. In 15th, I've gone West Ham. They were pretty grim last season, and Graham Potter definitely doesn't convince me as a manager. And well, their new number 9 is Callum Wilson, who I predict will have the impact of he'll have an impact of fuck all, and they'll have to be bailed out by Jared Bowen yet again, like they have been for God knows how long they've been relying on him. That's the only reason I don't think they'll go down. If they lose Jared Bowen due to an injury this season, they are done for and they will go down. I don't think they will though, and so Jared Bowen will just about keep West Ham up. In 14th, they've gone Fulham. They've bought one player in this summer. They've done nothing. There's not much to comment on because it's just another alright season, but they haven't done anything. They've literally bought one player for like 900 grand. I mean, it's just going to be alright. In 13th, I've gone for Nottingham Forest. I think this year, they're definitely due to fall back down to earth. They struggled towards the end of last season with the result, ending up falling down to 7th or 8th, and well, they will somehow get Europa League football because John Sexton didn't put his shares in a blind trust fund, whatever it was. Anyway, so they will play Europa League football, and I think the fact they've got third tonight as well, that'll definitely hinder them in terms of league performance. So I think 13th, a little crash back down to earth. The fact that they've held on to Morgan Gibbs White by, well, presuming the interview he did, holding his family at gunpoint, pretty well. Will actually help them in the long run. Actually help them this season. If he'd gone to Spurs, I'd probably put them a bit lower. But managed to hold on to the best player really will help them. Also, I forgot. I just realised now the loss of Elanga will hit obviously impact their league performance. One of their best players last season, but I don't think he was best. I think Morgan Gibbs White was, but losing him to quite have a big impact. Anyway, in 12th place, I've gone for Crystal Palace. It's Crystal Palace. They could genuinely field a team full of people from the old ladies' home, and they'd finish 12th. And they'd also have the greatest team ever assembled, and they'd still finish 12th. It is written in blood, like the Pittsburgh Steelers in the NFL. They will always get playoffs. Crystal Palace will always finish 12th. No matter, an asteroid could hit the earth and wipe us all out, and Crystal Palace would still be 12th in the Premier League. In 11th place, I've gone for Bournemouth. The fact they've sold their entire defence and not really bought anyone in kind of worries me, so I think a step back. I think Real is a good manager, so I don't think it's a massive drop-off, but, I think they finished 9th last season. I think they'll drop back to 11th place. In 10th place, I've gone for Everton. They were a very good top half, or mid-table side, when Moyes came in. I think they took them 17th to about, I think it was 14th in the end. If you look at the stats of when Moyes was in, they ended up with 10th in that time period. So I think with a full season in and the bottom of a couple of decent players, I think Jack Grealish may have one they've brought in. I think 10th place, they'll end up finishing 10th place. Might be a good season for everything, considering they've been in the shitters for the last couple of years. So it's nice to finally get the fans back on side at the new Hill Dickey. In 9th place, and I definitely haven't forgot them in the original recording of this, it's going to be Brighton and Albion. I don't think they've really done anything in the window, so I don't think another 9th place finish for them. It's another solid year. I think was it 8th last year? I think Man United and Spurs are going to rise back up, so they might end up taking a step back in terms of position, but not in terms of quality of the performance on the pitch. Anyway, in 8th place, I've gone for Manchester United. I really like their front three, especially Benjamin Sesko. I'm a big fan of his. I think he will do bits in the Premier League. Cunha was Wolves' main man and scored most of their goals. And Bramo, I don't think he was the top scorer at Brentford last season, was definitely one of the best performances last season. I'm not too keen on the midfield, apart from Bruno Fernandes, and the defence might be a bit shaky, but the fact is they get a full season Amorim, and he might not want to smash the telly through the wall this time. They've got no European football to worry about. I think they can focus solely on the league. And they're also in a good pre-season as well, so I reckon they will get an 8th, which... The fact that I'm saying 8th is a good season with Man United is fucking mental when you count the fact that they've won 20 Premier League titles. Actually, no. They've won 7 Premier League titles and 13 First Division. No. It's around, isn't it? There's 13 Premier League titles and 7 First Divisions. Anyway, yeah. The fact they've won 20 league titles and you're saying 8 is a good year for them is fucking mental. But I guess that's how the way football is these days. Anyway, in 7th place, I've gone for Newcastle United. This could be lower if they don't spend the exact money well, or he manages to just not play and they don't sell him. But I think they will end up selling him, and I do suspect they will end up using the money. Not like an exact level striker, but they will spend the money on someone who's half decent. And we'll take them 7th. But losing your main man, and especially with Champions League football again, I think a step back will be taken. But it's not really a horrific season. Like some people think they're dropping back into the mid-table. You're a bit ridiculous there, lads. I think 7th though, they will drop back into the Europa League again. I might be Conference League. I don't know what this way. I forgot this I don't know how the Premier League table European qualifying works. I just watched Borough really. I haven't watched much Premier League football recently, but I have done a bit of research for this. This might be wrong. I've just admitted I've not watched any Premier League football, so that is my excuse when I get one of these right, and it's Burnley finishing last. I don't watch any Premier League football. Oh God, but yeah. So 7th Newcastle. In 6th, I'm going to go for Spurs. I really like Thomas Frank as a manager. He's done great at Brentford. And in the Super Cup last night, although that doesn't really matter, they did manage to take the supposed PSG Super Team, greatest team built of all time, all the way to penalties, and could have won that game 2-0. But they didn't. They lost on penalties. But I still think they'll have a good bounce back year. Yeah, they've got the Champions League to contend with, which isn't great. But I do quite like Mohamed Kudus. and Joao Palhinha's pretty deep with us. I've heard them in press, but I don't know. I've seen conflicting reports saying they don't want to pay his release clause, so I'm not sure if that will go anywhere. But even if I think Spurs have a points back here, and then we'll end up finishing in 6th. 5th place, one for Aston Villa. They haven't really done much in this window of notes. I just think it's more the same, which is 5th, which under these new coefficient should pretty much get in Champions League football. I don't know how it works really. It's too complicated for me. I know it works in Football Manager because it's literally just it's practically England and Spain always get it, or maybe England and Italy occasionally. But I mean, we didn't get it in 23-24, did we? Because none of us did. None of us, our team didn't do anything. But anyway, I think Villa will end up finishing 5th, and we'll get Champions League football. 4th, Chelsea. They'll be closer to the title battle this year than they were last season. But I'm not convinced that now there's going to be some Premier League title challenges and that could win the league after that Club World Cup. They had a pretty easy run to the final, and then they beat PSG, which it was a very good performance. But realistically, it's a one game of football. Anyone could beat anyone in a one-legged cup final. I think so. I'm not really convinced that there are going to be some super title challenges. But I still think it'll be a good season for them, and they'll be closer to the battle than they were last season. In 3rd, I got Man City. I think this is the end of Pep, to be honest. Not as a manager, but in the Premier League as a club for a while. Pep Guardiola's tenure he's kind of starting to burn himself out. There were good spots in the last season, but then they've bought, apart from Cherki and then that Rangers fella. Trafford might not even be their number 1. They want Donnarumma. So if they get Donnarumma, I still don't think that changes a whole lot. I think the two at the top will just kind of run away with it this year by themselves. But I think 3rd for City, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Pep walk in the summer. So here we are. We're down to the top 2. Which one will it be? Will it be your favourite, or will it be someone else's favourite? 2nd place in the Premier League 25-26 season will be Arsenal. Therefore, your Premier League champions in 25-26 will be Liverpool. With an asterisk. This all depends on if they manage to get Isak in, which I think they do. Therefore, I think they'll win the league, because they will literally just put 5 or 6 past every team every week. If I don't get Isak, I think Arsenal win the league, because I'm not really convinced of Liverpool's defence. I don't think Frimpong's that good of a Trent replacement. He's a good footballer, don't get me wrong, but he's an attacking wing back. He has absolutely no clue how to defend. Reports saying Konate wants out. Van Dijk didn't look great in the Community Shield, so I'm not convinced about that defence. However, if they get Isak in, I mean they show against Palace they can just put quite a few past everyone, and they've got a great attack. So add Isak to that. Oh my God, they will literally be the 2024 Cincinnati Bengals. They'll put they'll score. They'll put up 50 points, but they'll also concede 50 points. It's just, can the attack outdo, can the attack's brilliance outdo the defence's shitness? So yeah, I think Liverpool do win the league because I think they will end up signing Isak. But they don't, I think Arsenal will win the league due to the fact that they finally got that number 9 that they've been crying out, craving, dying for the last 3 years under Arteta's reign in Victor Gyökeres. And I think, unlike some people who think, oh yeah, you done it in Portugal, he won't do it in the Premier League. I think he's shown he can do it in English football before in the Championship. He will be the bagsman, and I actually think he'll end up winning Golden Boot this year. So there you go. There are my Premier League predictions. With a T, I've said 2 possible outcomes there, realistically. So I can't wait to look back at this in May, and I'll look like a massive tip when Chelsea have somehow won the league, and that Club World Cup run wasn't actually a fluke. Anyway, that's been this video. If you have enjoyed it, I'm glad you did, and I hope you all enjoyed. Anyway, I'll hope to see you on the next one. Goodbye.